You're listening to SM Media, the home of exclusive West of Scotland Football League content. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media West of Scotland Football Show. I'm Scotland Pike. It's always a pleasure to be your host. I'm delighted to welcome this week's special guest. It's always a pleasure to get him on the show. Current manager of Pollok, Stewart Maxwell.
Good evening, Scott. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Soldiering on.
Soldiering on. We're literally recording this about 10-15 minutes after the draw for the West Cup, and it's a pretty tasty clash for you, isn't that?
Ah, yes, there he is. Matt done his team a favour getting his home draw, but I think he was what to kill the guy when he drew Paul out of the away team. Only kidding, by the way, just in case anybody thinks I'm being serious. No, it's a tough draw. Clydebank, obviously, one of the top sides in the league, and probably it's one of the ties that people would probably think would be a latter stage tie, but that's what it is. Then you just got to go on with it. It'll be a tough game, but as I said to you before, and I've said a million times to other people, they're all tough games.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at sort of one of the higher profile clubs, everybody wants to take your scalp, and obviously a club like Clydebank are a really good side. It'll be a tough game, and it'll be on the day, and it'll be decisions. It's over 90 minutes, so it's I'm not a lover. I think you should get extra time and then go to penalties, but it'll be on the day. But it'll be two good sides going toe to toe.
And obviously, like from when I last spoke to you at the Cumnock game, like you've been on a really good run, like in terms of the kind of league, because like there was a few draws to start the season, then obviously a big defeat at Benburb, but a really good run after that, winning at home to Irvine Meadow, away to Glenafton, home to Lags, away to Hurlford, big wins in the cup, obviously against the likes of Troon, Camelin, Petershill, obviously on Saturday. So you'll be happy in terms of the kind of bounces I've had after that kind of difficult start, because it was a difficult start. Like, there was a few kind of results there. I thought probably you should have won against Cumnock. You were up against Rob Roy. So from where you were at the start of the season to be where you are right now, you must take a lot of pride in that.
I think obviously, I say going back to being Paul, everybody wants to comment on Pollok, mostly when there's a defeat and things like that. It's a high profile club, and listen, it was made a wee bit more high profile than some of the players we've purposely brought in a new squad, which we felt was needed, and it was a bit of an unknown start. I didn't think we played well against Auchinleck, to be honest. But listen, I wasn't expecting that, and nobody was going to know that Auchinleck were going to go and lose whatever they lost 4 or 5 games after that. So we went in the opening game of the season. It came up Auchinleck Talbot, top side, top manager, tough game. Didn't think we played great. Rode a lot in the first half. Thought we were poor, but wee bit disjointed, big crowd, whatever the cause was. But second half we picked up a bit. We got a terrific goal to win it, and then like you say, going down to Cumnock, you were there that night. I thought we did enough to win the game, but I thought we were a better side, but we didn't. And but at that point we were derived of fullbacks, just the way we holidays and injuries and suspensions. We didn't have Fraser Mullen for the first few games of the season, who's been absolutely terrific for me. Top player, and he's a massive loss. It's not just defensively, just what he gives us offensively. We going forward, and the good combinations he has with Darren Christian on the right hand side. So we're sort of derived of that, and left backs it was an issue at left back as well. So on that current night, I think I said to you, we didn't have any full backs that night. We had a boy playing in a trialist, but as we both say, we thought we'd done enough to win the game, but we didn't. We got a point, and then we moved on. What was the next game? Is it
Rob Roy?
Rob Roy at home is probably the ones that are looking at them all. We're 3-1 up, we're cruising. Don't look in any danger, and then their boy scores a worldie.
Mm-hmm.
With a couple of minutes to go after took 2 goals in the last 7 minutes. So again, a winning position, took a point, and then we went to Benburb. Again, got ourselves in front. I thought played okay first half. It was a bit of a wind machine up there that day, and on the Astro it was hot, sticky, and we know what Benburb are one of the most hard-working sides in this league, and don't give you a minute. In the second half for 15 minutes, they were deplorable. Didn't start, and we get punished, and they scored we scored a 40-yarder right to the death to make it 4. It's funny how the 3-1 to 4-1, what an impact that has in a defeat, you know. And we deserved it on a like I say, a deplorable 15 minutes. And then there's a few choice words. I'm looking at the squad saying, what do we need to do here? We made a few big changes, and I think we have a medal on the Wednesday night, and we were excellent, really good. I thought 6-0 was harsh on Other Meadow, if I'm honest. I thought we competed really well first half, but we scored at the right time. And then second half we were really, really good. Like I say, I thought 6-0 was harsh, if I'm honest. But like I say, we were ruthless that night, and then we went, obviously, like you say, we went a really good run, and we've been scoring a lot of goals, entertaining. We spoke during the week there about some of the goals we're losing as well. It's quite difficult because it's no glaring errors. Like when we went in last year, there was a lot of glaring errors where you could say, right, basic errors, we're losing goals. It's not been like that. It's just been breaks, decisions, some good strikes in between there as well. And it's hard to sort of go into the training ground and analyse that and try and rectify that, because, like I say, it's not been glaring things we're doing. But we did have a chat the other night about a few of the goals we've lost, and to be fair, a good group to recognise that. And we've had a few players missing like everybody else, and we've had probably the most prominent one's been Luke Main on a 10-game ban. He's now 8 in. He's a type of player that I don't have in my squad. It's that type of player, a box-to-box midfielder that just gives you something different. So he's been a massive loss to us as well. So he comes in a couple of weeks' time, it's like a new signing. So, no, but we've had a good run, and I think, if I'm honest, probably if you do any manager that's on a rebuild, I think we're probably further ahead than what we thought. But I mean, I've done a few rebuilds, as you know, at Rob Roy over the years. You always, when you do a rebuild, there's always a mini rebuild in between. Sometimes it can be 2. So we weren't thinking that was it. Right, we signed 15 players. That's it. Everything's going to go smooth. It was never going to be like that. And as you can see, there's a few left the club. Like you say, actively it's difficult at this stage. You see to get a few in, but we did start off with a high number, but we knew we'd dilute down. But there will be a mini reshuffle at some point. But that any manager that does that in a rebuild will do that, and I've got experience of doing that. So, like I say, I think we're ahead where we're at. We're competing. I think we're scoring a lot of goals, and there's things we need to tidy up in, like every other squad, every other manager. I think I said in one of the interviews, you strive perfection. You're never going to get perfection, but you want to get to a point where, right, okay, we're on the right track. So yeah, no, but I think overall we're pleased. Like I say, we've had a couple of defeats, but only 2 defeats in 15 games, and one was in penalties. So it's not as if like it tells you we've had a good start to the season, I think.
Yeah, and you look at the table, obviously 27 goals scored, 16 conceded. So like you looked, I think top goal scorers in the league comfortably be like five ahead of Clydebank. So he's scoring goals, and one of the big reasons for the kind of goals has been Adam Ford, obviously scoring his 100th competitive goal on Saturday against Petershill, scored a hat-trick. He's been such a revelation this season as well, and obviously just been so consistent over his time at Pollok. What's your kind of thoughts on him, and how kind of big he's been for the squad so far this season, and since you've come in, and how pleased we to see him get 100 goals?
I think with Adam, I think I said at the weekend and on our media channel, I think you encounter players over the years, Scott, that you're signing and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. If I had an injury, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to do this and talk to talk. But Adam's talk to talk, walk to walk. We went in last year and Adam had a baby. He was injured when we went in to start with. Then he had a baby. He just his lifestyle, because when you've had a kid, I've been there, we've all been there. It's difficult to sort of manage that, and then he wasn't getting a run of games in the team, so he wasn't at his fitness levels, and he had a stop-start season by his own admittance, Adam, and it probably was a disappointing season for a guy of his standards. So he went away in the summer, and he got himself really, really good shape. Darren Christie's a PT. Darren gave him a programme to do, and Adam followed it to the book. And he took it upon himself, came back in, he got his body fat down, he got his fitness levels up, and he was injury free, which, as you know, is key. So I think Adam done all this himself, and that's why Adam deserves great credit. There was never any doubt in Adam Ford's ability. He's got an unbelievable left foot. He's a very intelligent player, but when you're sharp, when you're fit, when you're doing the dirty side of the game, he's getting the rewards, because it's not just about Adam Ford's goal scoring. Adam Ford now's running 50 yards back at times to chase midfielders and defenders that are breaking out for the opposition area. So he doesn't just stand there and get the ball and score goals. His work rate's been phenomenal. I mean, on the data vest, I mean, he's covering 12k a game. It's phenomenal, and I say it's testament to Adam. But he's such an intelligent footballer. He's so sharp now, and he sees things happening that other players don't see. If you look at his goals, I think he's out of 17 this year. I don't think you'll see him any tap-ins. He's got so many different variations to what he do. I mean, he hit the bar with one on Saturday that he had a wee glance over his shoulder, knowing the keeper was slightly off when he tried to clip it over him. But a lot of players would have probably turned and tried to smash it. He's just such an intelligent footballer, and he's enjoying his football as well. He's got a good balance now. He's, like I say, with his family life as well. He's got himself fit. He's staying relatively injury free. He'll have his niggles like everybody else, but because he's so fit, he can maybe fight the niggles off. When you're no fit, sometimes you can't do that. So, like I say, Adam deserves all the credit, and he got 100 goals at Pollok, a club he's been at a long time now, and where he's settled and he's happy. Sky's the limit for Adam. I don't know what the all-time goal scoring record is at Pollok, but if it's in the 150 odd, 67, whatever it is, I think Adam could go and smash that in the next couple of years if he keeps this form up. But no, I'm delighted for him. He's been top class.
We obviously did our season preview at the start of the season, and we were talking about who, like, last season obviously B did a magnificent run, and they've obviously started really well. But you look at the table, and we were really struggling to kind of divide the likes of yourself, Clydebank, B, Darvel as well. But like so far this season, like obviously B have had a good start, yourselves have had a good start, Clydebank are sitting top, Darvel have been good as well. The right sides are coming to the boil, and that shows the kind of quality that you all have. Like how surprised you've been with the kind of how well you have started, and like how well can everybody else have started, because you look at the table and you look at Clydebank, obviously a lot of quality in attacking areas. B, they've obviously got it as well. Yourselves, Darvel, all the kind of sides that you thought would contend have had really kind of good starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had good starts, but I think you're starting to see other teams motor a wee bit as well.
Yeah.
Like Benburb are capable of beating MD. St Cadoc's are starting to really settle into the league. Cairn starting to settle into the league as well. Auchinleck are over a rocky period. Largs are a good side. Hurlford are just always thereabouts. So I personally don't think it will be. I think there'll be a couple come out of the pack, the so-called pack, and challenge, because I just think it's such a competitive league. I mean, you've got Troon a good side as well, and like I say, there's other sides that are tough. Athlete done really well at points and picked up really good ones as well. I'm trying not to miss them out in case you feel as if you are, because I just feel that they're all good sides in this league, and obviously having Meadow, and I mean, the start of the season you were seeing a few teams detached, but starting to see Auchinleck, Irvine Meadow, Cairn, they're starting to reel in teams above them as well, and teams above them are starting to reel in the next lot who are just below the top four sides. So I really do think there's so many more twists. Like you see Beef beating Benburb 5-0 yesterday. I know it's in the cup, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think people need to realise that Beef won a flash in the pan last year. It wasn't even a one season wonder. They're a top side. They're the benchmark. They're the team that everybody's got to try and beat. And I was wary of that when I seen how they recruited in the summer. They signed a striker that I had a keen eye on as well, Kieran Diver, who seems to have replaced the goals that Josh Fuller's had, it, which was always going to be a big void for Beef, but he's just slipped into that seamlessly and doing very well. I mean, Beef are a top side. Their winning record is phenomenal. I'm good pals with Kev McDonald, assistant manager, and speak to Kev Vegler. And like I say, they've got good experience there in the coaching staff, good manager, and they'll be the team to beat. I think if you finish up, any team that finishes above Beef will probably win the title, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been a really good start. Benburb as well, obviously, great result against yourselves, and they've had a really good start. But they're a real young team that are well coached, and just the start they've had, they've played 11 games, won 6, and they've been very, very solid and big results.
I think with Benburb, Paul, I think with Paul and Benburb, with Paul and Benburb, I think it seems to be no issue getting up for the big games.
Aye.
They beat Clydebank twice, they beat Hurlford, they beat ourselves. There's no issue there. Where you need to go on, as you know, is winning titles. I'm not telling anybody how to suck eggs here. It's the teams that are so-called running about you or below you. You need to get the points there. And as you can see, they're either winning. There's no many draws, but that's a classic thing. The 3 points for a win. You can lose 5 and somebody can lose 2, but draw 4, and you're no much of a difference. You know what I mean? The 3 points are massive. And like I say, they've either won or they've been beat, but they're a good side. And yeah, I think Cadoc's are really settled down, and I think they're a top side as well. And Galt Cairn, who've signed a couple of players for me as well. I speak to Mick quite regular as well. At Galt Cairn, they had a lot of injuries at the start of the season. Yeah. Speaking to Tucker's had these problems as well, but they're all starting to be settling down now, and they're all starting to show now that, wait a minute, you go and sting 3 or 4 wins again in this league, it could be massive. You could go from bottom to middle to bottom to top 6 with 4 wins in a row in this league. Yeah. That's how tight it is. So, listen, I think there's, as I say, there's plenty more twists and turns, but I do think whoever finishes above Beef will win the league.
And you mentioned Auchinleck, obviously, and there was a lot of talk with the kind of poor run they had in the league, but they brought in a couple of good players. Like I think Ross Urquhart's a really good addition, Kyle McAvoy for Bonnet, and they're 2 players who've. My big issue with Auchinleck was it was a lot of experienced guys leaving that dressing room, and yeah, bringing in young players is good in terms of long term, but do they replace that balance that was there for so long that we're winning things? But they've had a good run in recent weeks. They've won their last 3 cup games. They had a good run in the league for a while. They can build on that and bringing that experience in. It's finding that balance, and if there's a man to do that, then now it's Tucker.
Well, listen, I'm sure as much success as Tommy's had, I think Tommy will feel what we've all felt at points. You're only relevant for the moment, and Tommy's had criticism of his own fans, which is incredible for you think of the job he's done over the years. But I think with Tommy built such a good side over a decade ago. It was just replacing 1 or 2. Boys didn't want to leave because we're successful. They were in the Scottish Senior Cup every year, and more or less it was quite a funny joke. And if you were Tommy Sloan, you'd be saying the opening line would be, if you were signing, right, I can guarantee you the Scottish Junior Cup or the league or maybe the double or maybe the treble, just depending on how we're feeling. So that was always a joke that you're going down there and you signed there at that period you were going to win one of the big prizes. So I think Tommy was only having to replace 1 or 2 and everybody was wanting to go there. But I think over the last couple of years, things have changed. I think the demographics have changed as well. There's a lot of teams, Central Belt teams now emerged. I mentioned a couple in Galt Cairn, St Cadoc's. Benburb have improved. Clydebank's gradually get better, obviously, and you've still got your Pollok, your athletes and all that. So I don't think with the travel that boys are having to go to Ayrshire if you're based in the Central Belt as much now. And I think that's maybe where Tommy's suffered now. He's had to do sort of a bit of a major rebuild. It's been very difficult to get 5, 6, 7 players in. Before that, he was just filtering players out and in, and it was easier. So he's probably had to rethink his own strategy as well, and that doesn't happen overnight. That takes a wee bit of time. So he's gradually adding players in now. He's getting a couple back for injury, I think, as well. Talking to him over the last couple of weeks, so I think you'll see how they're a good side and they've got good players there, and they've got the best manager at this level will ever be. So all those ingredients, I don't think they'll be down the bottom of the league for much longer.
I think they'll have to run as well. I think once they get, as you say, like the kind of players back for injury and the players that have been brought in settle in, I think they'll be fine. And I think they always were going to be fine. But let's move into the first division, the unpredictable league that it is. The top 7, there's Shotts are top in 21 points. Johnson are 7th in 17 points, and there's 5 teams in between that. We always talk about this league being unpredictable. Again, it's a league that just throws up everything, doesn't it? There's just, you can't follow that league in terms of there's good teams in there like from Chapel, Rutherglen have started well, Petershill, Blantyre, Maybole, Johnson sitting in 7th. that league could just go anyway, couldn't it?
Again, I think it went like that last year. I think Benburb had an unbelievable run, had a poor start, and then went a phenomenal run, and they put Drumchapel at the very death. But I think if you remember back, Drumchapel were well into every cup competition. They've done exceptionally well in the senior Scottish Cup. They got to the final of the South Challenge. I think they got late stages of the West, maybe semis. If I remember, I watched. I think it was the same as the West. They obviously done phenomenal in the Scottish Senior Cup as well. But if you asked Adam Hopes and the players, because he retained most of that squad, did they give all that up to get promoted at the end up? And I think where for Drumchapel, for example, this year is that they exited the West yesterday. I think they're out the South. I think Ardrossan beat them in the South Challenge, and they're not in the Scottish Senior Cup. So they've got a quality squad there who have been over the paces at this league. They've tasted the disappointing going up. So I think they can now fully focus on what they're doing in the league. And I think as much as they'll be disappointed going out the cups because they're a good side, I think that might be a blessing for them to go and get promotion, which is their ultimate gain. Other teams, Johnstone Borough, listen, well documented. Johnstone Borough, what's happened over there in the last few months, had a sticky start, but I don't think anything's guaranteed in that league, because you look at a lot of teams, something like Johnstone Borough and Drumchapel, a lot of good experienced players, but there's a lot of teams with energy and legs. Like Blantyre are always tough to beat. Joe Price is resurrected Glencairn. Their energy, legs, and get a bit of sprinkle with a bit of experience. John McKeown, one of the best managers in that league as well, just always seems to churn out teams. Don't get on, he moans to me all summer about we're not going to do this, I can't get this one in, and I turn around at him after every 3 months ago, you've got a better record than MD. But he's just a top manager, and he's had a nucleus of players there. He's had Paul McGeoch, he's had Ali Martin, big centre back, and then Johnny Murdoch, the goalie, and he's had a nucleus of players that know what it takes to win in that league. And then if you go run about it, you've got, try to think who else, we've got St Roch's under a new manager who will be ambitious enough and well supported.
Maple have been really good. Maple with a really good start as well.
Well, I didn't realise some of the players at Maple have got experience. I didn't realise they had Ali Semple, they've got Mick McCann, they signed Ali Park.
Josh Robertson as well, Stephen Wilson.
There's a lot
of good players in that team, man.
A lot of experience in that team, and obviously sprinkled with a bit of youth. I mean, they'll be hard to beat. I'm trying to think who else have we got.
Petershill. Maple. One team I want to touch on that I think in a similar situation, talking Lech, I think there was a lot of pressure on them, especially with a difficult start, was Kilwinning. They had a really tough start early on, and there was a lot of talk about the fans not really liking what was going on, but they've really turned it around in recent weeks. Like they've had big results in the cup. They obviously went to Thornwood and won. They had a big result at home to Blantyre in the league, drew away shots, won at home to Renfrew on Saturday. Kilwinning, just a bit of patience, and they've went on a really good run, and if they can translate that to the league, they could be another one that could be right up there.
I'm delighted for Chris Aiken, because I thought when he took the job on, if you remember, if you flip it back to the start of last season, people were tipping Kilwinning to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
So timing is very, very difficult. I've done it now, obviously, as well. Going into replacing a manager in season is very, very tough, especially with one of the more high profile teams. And you see, to be honest, Chris Aiken stood up every week when he couldn't bring players in, because at the time he came in, it was time sensitive. He couldn't get the players in because it's so difficult to get players in. You can get one or two in, but he needed a bit of an overhaul there, and he had a massive injury list as well. And he stood up every week. He came out for his interviews, and he backed his process. He took the flak. It was probably a few dark days for him. Probably at points he probably questioned whether he wanted to do it or not. And he stuck by his beliefs, his process. He's got his own players in. He's obviously got players back. Club, I know, great. Had a great time coming. Lovely, great club, great people. And Chris Aiken's turned it around with sheer hard work. And I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted for his staff, and I'm delighted for everybody Kilwinning that they've got a team that can compete. And I knew they would, but it just went at such a difficult time, and then obviously getting relegated. And it's not easy as a manager. I think over the last probably year or so, I've been a lot of profile on players getting abuse off supporters and online media stuff. But some of the abuse managers get and coaches get, it's incredible at all levels. It's incredible the way things go into managers. And let's say Chris is probably, let's say, had a right few dark moments there, and he's come through it, and he's in great form. I listened to his interview last night. I think they're 10 wins in a row, I think.
Yeah.
Or 10 undefeated.
They're undefeated, I think.
It's brilliant. He's done brilliant. And listen, winning breeds confidence. Confidence breeds victories, and I think they'll be up there challenging. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's 6 or 7 teams going for it right up to the end of the season. That's how competitive that league is.
Yeah, the big change down the bottom, obviously. Whitlets, who had a difficult start, they obviously part of the company with Gordon Pope. Former Craig Mark manager Ryan Caddis is now in at Whitlets, and Ian Nixon has taken over his job at Craig Mark. What do you kind of make of the changes? Obviously delighted for Ryan and Ian as well. Bit gutted for Gordon, but I know he'll get another job in the game, no bother. And he's always a very good guy at what he tends to do. So I best wishes to all those 3 guys and what they do in their future. But there's been some big changes in the teams in the past couple of weeks.
We've talked on Gordon Pope. I think the young managers came into the game stepping up for him, because I was at myself at one point, and I had a tough start at Rob Roy when I went in. You just hope that these young managers don't slip away. You know what I mean? Because they've had a bad experience. You've seen like Brian Young at Beef, young manager, and hasn't reappeared back in the game, and same like Sir Gordon, good managers, played at a good level, good expectations. I just hope that Gordon goes and resets. As I think about, you always think what you can do better. You always question yourself, but I don't know how the situation was, how well he's supported financially. Whitlets are always battling against the other areas of clubs, they're not one of the bigger clubs. But no, I'm gutted for Gordon. But I'm sure Ryan's had a think about it. He produced a lot of good results over at Craig Mark over the years, and he probably feels this is a step up for him. And he's obviously Ayrshire based, and maybe he can bring a different angle or a different freshness to it. In a period where Whitlets are going through a bit of transition off the pitch as well. So no, that'll be a one to watch to see what Ryan can change there, and hopefully get a tune out of it. And Ian Nixon, I don't really know Ian that well, but I know he was in at Greenock. I know he was in Largs under-20s, I think, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think it's one of the few clubs I don't really know much about. Scott, I think I've ever played at Craig Mark in my whole career. But for what I'm hearing, for a really, really well-run club, great committee, and I think Ryan's left them in a good position with a good side. So again, Ian will be looking to maybe tweak a few things there and try and keep that successful team going, and I'm sure he will. So he'll be excited to be wanting to get his teeth into it. It's a big job for him, probably his biggest job to date. So, like I say, and Ryan's stepping up a league as well. So, no, it'll be exciting for the two of them. But I wish the two of them the best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving into the second division, we had a big clash on Saturday. Cumbernauld shot to the top of the table. They won 2-1 at home to Ardrossan, who were previously at the top. And those are two sides that have started really well. Obviously, Cumbernauld 25 points, Ardrossan 24, Vale of Clyde on 21 points, but have 2 games in hand in Ardrossan. The 3 sides have started really well.
Yeah, Cumbernauld, I know George Watson really well, and a couple of my former players are still playing. Can't believe it though. Danny Boyle and Gavin Mackey still hanging in there. No, the 2 great lads. I see they're playing. I know they've signed Gavin the Draw. He was at Genefield Swifts.
Yeah,
I think
Lewis,
he's relocated down here, and obviously the former Thornwood managers went in and they've dipped into their old connection. I think the boy Deck Brown's been in fire from Declan Brown. I think they've resurrected the boy John Cunningham, who was at Blantyre a few years ago. I think he had a few bad injuries, and fell out the game a wee bit. But they seem to be getting a tune out of him, and they've added good quality. I think they know that level very well. And I mean, look at their impressive results, and they're well backed with George. George's a good chairman, and he's ambitious enough to get them back up. And they've had a terrific start this season. But when I look at their team, and I look at some of the things they've made, they've recruited really well, but they've kept a bit of experience here, like I say, and Dav and Gani, guys that can be called upon when just when the chips are down, need a wee bit of experience to go with the legs that they've got, and like I say, they'll be tough. I'll actually ironically watch Dawson play, and again, they're packed with experience as well. They've had a wee bad patch. They've lost maybe the last three, I think. If I'm right, maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But it's, again, they've had a tough games. But Gav Friel's another good manager and knows the level really well. And Ardrosson's very similar to Cumbernauld. Good guys that back the club there, and they're well ran as well. Good pitch. But listen, they'll reset again and look to try and get a win and go on another run. But so tight, and obviously John Hughes, I know John, who was ex Cumbernauld coach, doing it very well. John inherited a really good side because Colin and Derek moved on to Arfley and left a really good side, and John's just kept that wheel turning. Sometimes it's difficult. People think a team's doing well, you'll just keep it going. It doesn't always work like that. But John's got them firing, and he's made a few squad changes. I've noticed that in the last month or two. There's a few going out and a few coming in. So like anything, you're constantly tweeting things, trying to just improve positions. So they're in the mix as well. But I think there's a raft of teams below that could maybe hit a run as well.
There is. You look at like Sir Caledonian in fourth, Kilsyth have had a good start, Maryhill, St Anthony's as well. St Anthony's, I'm pretty sure, got points. Did they get a points deduction as well?
Yeah.
I think
we played Maryhill in a friendly. I know we played really well that night, but I was really impressed with how Mark Young, that's actually Brian Young's younger brother, I'm led to believe, really try and play good football, try and get out for the back, and some really good young progressive players there. And Carlo's went in it. It Kilsyth a bit of a sleeping giant for me because obviously I'm over this neck of the woods, and Carlo's went in there and really shaked it up. I think it needed somebody like Carlo to go in and really shake it up because again they've got a good committee there and good support, great part. And Carlo's energetic. He's a great knowledge of the game. He's got good knowledge of younger players as well, and he's revamped that squad, and their results have really picked up. And young Kevin Kelly's in it. Cali Locomotive Moscow, I call him just as a joke. You know, they're saying that to me. Said it's such a big name to just call it Cali Locos to break it down. But Kevin had a really exciting young team when they were WOSFL last year.
Yeah,
and they've kept energy and legs about it. And yeah, I think he lost a couple of his better players, more experienced players. I think one of them actually went to Clyde, a striker. But Kevin seems to be on the knack of having young, energetic teams on the front foot. Maybe could do with a wee bit of experience, but probably his budget only dictates how far he goes with that. But again, on their day, they're capable, and Danny Taylor's done really well at the Ants. He's got them a good young team, and you see them on Twitter when they win. It's like they've won a cup final.
They're always very consistent, considering the kind of resources.
Danny will be fired up. I know Danny's character. Danny will have him fired up, reactive, and you know what it's like when young boys are progressive, come up the way. They're very receptive to everything you say, and they want to do well, and they'll no feel through lack of honesty or lack of effort. That's for sure. Teams like that, Cali Locos and St Anthony's and Maryhill, they'll give their managers everything, and their managers are. Danny's got experience, Kevin's up and coming, and so is Mark Young. So they're all different contrasts here, but they'll get their lot, and let's say they'll know through lack of effort or commitment. But can they get that big experience in? That's probably what they're looking for. At certain points, they're probably looking back on, could we get somebody in that position?
Mm-hmm.
But they'll and like I say with Carlo as well, Carlo being a top coach as well. So I think that could turn into a 6 or 7 team battle as well.
Yeah.
At some point.
Even the likes of Wishaw, obviously Martin O'Neill going in and things like that. Like they won at home to Drawson their first game under him, and they're aside. Like I felt a bit for Davey as well. I think he obviously struggled with the resources and things like that. And he's another guy I think will get a good job in the game. But these teams, they get a wee bounce and they go on a run, and the league's so tight, as you say. Like all it takes is 3 or 4 wins, and you could be right up there. And even into the 3rd division as well. Like Bells Hill, terrific start. I think they're only 1 or 2 unbeaten teams in the West. They are 5 points clear after 9 games. They've been really impressive for me, and I've spoken to a couple of guys at the club, and they're just saying there's a completely different vibe in the club in the past couple of years, just in terms of a team that struggled and now they're getting that run.
Definitely, you talk about like said David Dunn, terrific coach, brilliant coach. At the end of the day, I go back to what I said earlier. You don't want these guys to slip out the game through a bad experience. But you actually Dean Muir in it. Moving on to our league, Bells Hill played with Dino, know him well. he's a local lad. He was at Bellshill in a right good side. They were a top side under Steve McGee. I had them, and they were challenging for trophies and leagues. And I think they've just went in there, him and the boy Rowett, isn't it? Aye,
yeah,
and local lads, they've got a connection to the club. They've played there under a successful spell, and they've just totally revamped the whole probably ethos of the club, because it's been troubled up there for a number of years, and there was a real revolt there a few years ago with committee and coaches and everything else. So I think what Dino and probably Nearly have just went in and reset it a wee bit and just went, right, okay, we'll build it. And they've brought in some exciting young talent. They've actually got one of my old goalkeepers who's experienced, J.C. Hutchison. Terrific goalie, terrific lad. We'd probably chuck it if it wasn't his local club, and he's probably given that bit of experience back. Great talker, big J.C. Hutchison, and a terrific goalie, and that probably gives him a platform. And then he's added in some really good players, and they've been in a great run of form. And I'm delighted for Dino, and delighted for Bellshill, because I say they've went through the ringer as a club the last few years. I'm delighted they've got a bit of stability and two up and coming coaches that are taking in the right direction.
Yeah, they certainly are. And you look at below them as well, obviously Glasgow United, Irvine Vicks in 18 points, Vale leaving have had a good start in 17, Greenock, Les Mahago, Dalry, obviously a team you'll know well for last week. There's a few really good sides in that league, and you look at like Glasgow United as well, Irvine Vicks, they've got a lot of good goal scorers, and that is, like, you look at the goals they've scored so far, there's big players in there, and when they're at that division, they get a run going. It's such a tight league, but the goal scorers can make a big difference when they're on it.
I mean, I think it's well documented. David Goodwillie in it, Glasgow United. I mean, unbelievable striker.
You can say what you want as him as an individual and things like that, but in terms of goal scoring at that level, he's far too good as a player to be playing at that level.
And that's no disrespect to that level. He should be playing. Yeah, he should be playing. I'm not saying West Premier. It should be beyond that. But obviously, politics have dictated. But David's deadly, and I think Shuggy's stuck his neck out to get him back into the game. And every time you look at the results, you just see Goodwillie, a goal again, Goodwillie. So you're right. And but there's other good strikers in that league as well. But I think whoever can get a 30-goal striker, 20-30 goal striker in that league will not be far away. It's like I said, it just makes a difference. It does make a difference. But there seems to be a raft of good teams in that league as well. It's just making it ultra competitive. And again, it'll be dictated by that wee bit of quality at the end, and then you know yourself, injury suspensions and things like that as well. But having a top striker that Glasgow United have got, that could make a difference. But Bellshill seem to be the benchmark in that league. They seem to be the team that everybody wants to try and catch and knock off their pedestal.
Yeah, I want to give a mention as well for Kello. They've had obviously a tough league start. They've lost their first 9 games, but they'll take it. They took Gartcairn to the limit in the cup last week. They'll take a lot of confidence for that. And as Greg says, and I really like Greg as a guy, when he gets players back, do you know what I mean? It's been a really tough start for likes of Kello. They've had a lot of injuries, a lot of suspensions. Once they get players back and you take confidence for giving Gartcairn a game like that can work wonders for you.
It's sometimes a big game like can just help kickstart your season. Listen, it's easy to talk about managing, as I talk how tough management is and how much criticism managers get. Spare a thought for the manager at Kello, because 9 defeats in a row, and he'll be feeling every blow of that, and he's still hanging in there. He's still got his beliefs in what he can do, and Kello probably lucky to have a guy like that sticks by. When times are tough, you just need a bit of consistency. You need to try and ride out the storm, and hopefully he gets his rewards and so his players. But they'll take confidence with taking Gartcairn all the way, and if they can do that in one game against one of the big guns, just need to try and replicate that every week. Try and replicate the stuffiness and take your chances. And I'm sure the world will turn for them down there. I'm sure they'll start to get a couple of wins and pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be a really competitive league as well. 4th division, I think, is very similar to that as well. Glenvale sitting at the top in 25, Thorn 23, St Peters and Rossvale in 22, Lugar, Giffnock, Knightswood, really good start for Knightswood actually. East Kilbride, Eglinton, 15 points as well. There's 10 points in the top 9 teams. That's a league where there's a lot of up and coming teams, a lot of players kind of maybe going down a couple of levels and just using that experience. But there's a lot of young talent coming through, and these teams are obviously got a lot of ambition.
A lot of ambition, a lot of good boys clubs below a lot of these teams like St Peters and Giffnock, and they're all teams based over the other side of Glasgow. And I know Josh Gardner really well at WOSFL, young progressive manager, works extremely hard, always on the phone looking for any advice or anything, and dead respectful of where he's at and who he's playing against and where he wants to be, and works extremely hard. So I always knew he would have WOSFL back challenging again this year. I had no doubt about that. But like Thorn and St Peters, I mean, St Peters went through it on Lithgow a couple of weeks ago and scored 2 goals at Prestonfield and made a bit of a game of it. So I know they took a sobering. I think they took a sobering yesterday against Irvine Meadow. But again, if they can just learn from these experiences, part of your progression, your development for these younger players is unfortunately getting beat and learning how to make things better and how to make yourself better and how you react to defeats as well when you go back into the teams round about you. You've played the so-called bigger guns in the cup competitions, and I think that'll really go to plan. I think that league could be really unpredictable. I think they all seem to be having runs, and again, like Glenvale seem to be really after. If you look at all the teams that came in last year, they've all really started to improve, and they're probably the biggest thing is they need to do as well is improve their infrastructure, get it away from start to build towards the senior team and get their infrastructure in their stadium and committees and try and get a network of fans and getting the club self-sufficient. I think that's key to everything. Of course, you want success in the pitch, but sometimes you need to sacrifice a bit to get everything moving at the same path because you don't want to end up too ahead of yourself at one end, with the pitch side or the playing side, and both ends don't catch up because then it becomes a wee bit dysfunctional at points. So I mean, again, competitive, and I'm glad to see the fourth division's now got 4, 5, 6 teams that could go and win that league now, whereas last year it was really a bit detached, wasn't it? There was Forsyth Athletic and Trevor and West Park were just a level above everybody else, but you can see it getting Eglinton now, they seem to be emerging as well, and they seem to be, you can just see things improving with these clubs, and it's great to see because it's only going to make their level better and give these young guys a platform to improve, and then hopefully they get their big move, and then they can look back and say that one of the smaller clubs in the fourth division helped their catapult their careers on, and it gives all these teams a great template to work off of going forward.
Yeah, absolutely does, and obviously it's going to be a really interesting league as well. We'll move back to Pollok, big game on Saturday in the Senior Scottish Cup at home to Gallifrey Rovers. They've had a good start in the Lone League actually. They're a team to keep an eye on. What's the kind of thoughts going into that game? And it'll be a big crowd, obviously, big occasion for the club, the second round of the Senior Scottish. What's your thoughts going into that?
Very, very cautious, Scott. I mean, I think a lot of people look. Gallifrey had a difficult start to the season. A friend of mine's assistant manager there, and it was injuries and bringing players in, and we went through a wee sort of money change. And if you look at their form, probably if you right out their first 4 or 5 games, they're a top side. They've got middle to front, they're as good as MD in that league. They've got Nicky Reid, they've got Danny Galbraith, they've got Jamie Semple, and they've just signed Xander Murray for Bonnyrigg.
Yeah, he's back there, isn't he?
Aye, so like the middle to front, they're as good as him. Boy, Danny Galbraith could play for any team at that level. He's a top talent. Everything goes through him. I know how tough a game it's going to be. They know they've got a tough tie. We know we've got a tough tie, and again, it'll be on. Obviously, you get the extra time in the Senior Scottish so as well, but it'll be. I think it could be close to Pollok's capacity on Saturday. The revised capacity. A big crowd, big game, and like I say, we've had a few bumps. With our bump in the road recently, they've had a few bumps, and I think they get beat yesterday 4-1 off of Cumbernauld Colts at home. So it'll be a tough game. 2 good sides, two good attacking sides going at it, and it'll be decided on who's got a bit of quality on the day, a wee bit of luck, or hopefully there's no refereeing decision because the tie for one of the teams. But listen, under no illusions how tough it will be for us anyway.
Yeah, just other West teams that are in B. They're obviously at home to Broomhill, Cumnock are at home to Turriff, Clydebank away to Formartine, Kilwinning home to Cowdenbeath. 4 really one, like obviously yourselves at home to Gallifrey. It could be a really good weekend for the West teams because there's a lot of decent chances there to get results.
I think to be fair, if we go through them individually, we've got a boy in training with us that played with Clydebank, boy Matt McLean, who plays with Formartine. I was just asking him a couple of weeks ago, saying how he went a decent side, we're physical, we're strong. Plus the the journey up there as well.
Aye.
You know what I mean? It's that'll be a tough game, but it'll be a game that Clydebank will be up there. They'll fancy their chances. They've had a great record in this cup over the last few years, and more than that, will fancy their chances going up there and getting a result. But under no illusions how tough a game it'll be. Beef Broomhill.
That'll be quite tasty, won't it? That'll be
Swifty and Staney know each other really well as well, and Kev McDonald in there, so they're a wee pals at as well. So it's probably the tie that anyone, because whoever loses that's going to get back to a ribbon on the WhatsApp chat, I think.
I would have thought so, yeah.
I think Swifty went in there a really tough gig as well, and they've gradually improved.
Yeah, they have massively.
I seen yesterday they were well behind and came back and got a result late on, and I think they're showing that resilience, and they've got Craig McEwen in there helping them, who's got great knowledge at this level as well.
Yep.
And as I've already praised them on this show tonight, Beef are formidable. Like I say, the top side in the West, and Swifty and Southfield are under no illusions of how tough it's going to be and how resilient they are and how good a record they've got under Chris Strain. So that'll be tight as well. I think that'll be a similar to their game. It'll be tight, it'll ebb and flow, and 2 teams. And then I think Cumnock played Turriff. I don't know much about Turriff, but I think they just sacked the manager or he left. I think
the manager went to Inverurie, I believe.
Oh, did they go to Inverurie? I knew that. I don't know if they've replaced them yet. So if I was a Cumnock, I wouldn't want to bring a new manager in place for Saturday, because sometimes you do manager bounce. But I think that's another game that Cumnock. I think Cumnock are favourites in that game. Without being disrespectful, I think that's probably the easiest one to call, in the sense that Cumnock are favourites. I think the other ones are quite tight. I fancy Cumnock to go through in that, but again, it'll not be easy. And then obviously Kilwinning, Cowdenbeath put on Lithgow in the last round. They're a good side, and they've done really well as well. And they're probably one of the top teams in the home league. But they're coming down to a galvanised Kilwinning team that are 10 wins and a bounce, and will fancy their chances. I know what it'll be like down in the Ayrshire Scottish Senior Cup. The crowd will get out, they'll get behind them, they'll turn it into a fortress down there, an intimidating atmosphere, and that coming up any Cowdenbeath players that haven't experienced Ayrshire football will quickly know what it's all about after 15 minutes, and that could be the potential big shock if Chris Aiken and these guys can produce, but they're up against a top side.
Yeah.
And but again, they've nothing to lose. They're underdogs. We're the only team coming down and playing them, but that'll be tight as well. So it's really, really interesting this weekend. The Scottish Cup ties, it really is.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting weekend, and also we're back next week to cover the West Sides. And Stuart, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and obviously there's going to be some big league games upcoming, so we'll wish you best of luck for what's coming up in the Cup, and thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure.
No worries, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much to everyone tuned in. Please follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. We'll see you all soon. Cheers.